So I finally just got my diagnoses with on my last video with the complex care doctor with EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, mast cell activation syndrome, craniocervical instability. What is next? My next plan was to get my FND label removed, but she also sent me referrals to a cardiologist to get my POTS label confirmed, postural orthostatic tachycardic syndrome. I'm going to do specific videos on all of these disorders later. I also was sent to a referral for GI because she and that doctor wanted to look at gastroparesis. So he wanted to do an endoscope and a gastric emptying test. I was also referred to a PT doctor, and she is a neurophysical therapist, which is great because I have a lot of neurological issues going on. And I've been meeting with her virtually now for quite a while. She's been super helpful. So I got a lot of referrals. This doctor has great referrals to a lot of connections, and she makes sure that all of the referrals I have, they all fully understand my disorders. So when I go in, I'm not having to explain all of these zebra disorders. Now, zebra, when I say that, I will explain that in a full video as well. Zebra is the mascot for EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Okay, so when all of this is going on, I also discontinued taking all of my opiates because I wanted to get off them. There was a lot of stigma behind it. But when this happened, I noticed all of these symptoms started to pop up that I was talking about previously. One of the diagnoses I was looking at that I was like, I'm going to ignore this. Well, I couldn't really ignore it anymore. Some of the symptoms I was experiencing was freezes, stalling, spasming contractions, and fainting goats. Let me explain. I started researching stiff person syndrome. I did not bring this up to the doctor at first. I did some of my own research. I found a support group. I did not bring it to my mom at that point because I was like, don't want to seem a little like overzealous about this yet, but my symptoms increased, the spasms got worse, my freezes, like all of a sudden I'd be walking and all of a sudden it felt like someone poured cement into me, and all of a sudden I could feel this stiffness get really hard, sort of like a Disney character. All of a sudden the villain comes in and goes bibbidi bobbidi boo, and you turn into stone. That's what was happening. Another instance, like the fainting goat, my nephew was playing ball outside the door. The ball hits the window. All of a sudden it's and I tip over. Another one is I was having these horrible spasms out of nowhere when I would stand up out of bed, and all of a sudden it was like I was being attacked by a python. It was really hard to breathe. I will be loading some of these videos up. I warn you, they are graphic, but I will put a graphic warning on them for people. But I think for awareness, they need to be out there. Also, I'm still dealing with that. I will get to that in a minute. So these built up and built up and built up. And over the summer, and didn't know what to do. We've been battling this now, and finally, after searching and searching and searching, we've landed a neurologist. I did the gastric emptying test, by the way, and no gastroparesis. We had to cancel the endoscope because of these spasms. I ended up in a neck collar because they thought I had a CSF leak, and it ended up I irritated my CCI. I started treatment for my mast cell. I am now taking cromolyn, and a lot of things had to be put on pause. I had to be moved from my room, and now I'm up in my mother's room because I can now no longer move anywhere. I cannot go up the steps. I cannot stand up. I cannot walk. I cannot do any activity other than like move my hands around, move my legs around a little bit. If I were to flail my hand around right now, it would go into a spasm. So after much research, I was pretty convinced I have stiff person syndrome, and I asked my complex care person to do a antibody test, and the antibody test for that came back negative, and I said, could I get a referral to a neurologist? And she sent me a great neurologist, but that neurologist was going to take too long. So when I called that neurology office to try to get that referral, and they saw what I was being referred to, they said, I think there's a better option. I was sort of crying on the phone, and they heard my desperation. They said, I think you need to see this other doctor. I went with my gut, took that doctor, and I'm really glad I did, because after going in, explaining my symptoms, the doctor said, I think you have stiff person syndrome. The validation felt absolutely amazing. And it's weird saying that, but when you have been dealing with a symptom for so long and feeling like unvalidated by a lot of neurologists telling you it's in your head or you're crazy, and finally somebody validating what's happening, yeah. So my attacks now last about an hour, and when they happen now, I lose oxygen. I've gotten down to 91, which is not like extremely bad, but I now black out because my lungs feel like they collapse. Stiff person syndrome is a 1 in a million disorder, and grossly misdiagnosed. Can be misdiagnosed as functional neurological disorder, Parkinson's, MS, agoraphobia, anxiety, fibromyalgia, and yep, I've been placed in a lot of those categories on accident. And so this doctor, this neurologist, ran a bunch of antibody tests. They just came back, and all of them were negative. You can still have stiff person syndrome and have those be negative. I'm waiting on my EMG, which is September 16th. That EMG needs to come back positive for motor activity. So I'm banking on that, or else we're back to square one trying to figure this out. I'm desperate to figure this out because at this point I'm completely immobile. I have lost all quality of life. Cannot leave my house, cannot leave the bed. So yeah, life's gotten a little difficult. I'll be posting the videos after this video to show you what this looks like. It's scary as hell. I will show you sort of a couple videos of how they've progressed and what they are looking like now. It's not easy to watch, but I need you to see it. Yeah. I've watched other people's SPS videos out here too. In my heart of hearts, I truly believe I have SPS. And I don't say that in a crazy way. I say that as I've been searching for answers for so long. And when I search and I look, and I have been doing research, as in like I have been reading scientific studies, and I have been reading, when I talked to the PA and I asked her all these questions, she's like, I don't even understand half the words coming out of your mouth. She's like, I'll have to talk to the doctor on that. John Hopkins has the best protocol on things. That's where they're studying it, and they said that it's under-researched. There are only 2 people who have done stem cell transplants to solve this. This is it's still uncurable. There are some treatments out there. IVIG is what they're doing for treatment. My goal, if I get the diagnosis, is to get IVIG. But this has been a long process. I understand why now. I accidentally got diagnosed with FND because it looks similar. It can get triggered by sounds, movement, touch, light, extreme emotion. For me, I haven't noticed that one. For me, for some reason, stress and emotion is not a trigger for me. For me, it's just movement for now, but that could change. Yep. So now that I've caught up on my story, I've left a lot of details out, but I will do a vlog on EDS. I will do one on mast cell. I will do one on CCI. I will do one on stiff person. I will do one on my cromolyn, on the treatments I'm doing. Yeah, I'll do one on my career. I'll do one on whatever you guys want to hear. Let me know. So yeah, stiff person is currently the diagnosis we are going down. It's very difficult, and I don't have time. My backup plan, if this doctor doesn't know what he's doing, is to go back down to Mayo, which is a scary, scary thought. Oh, yes, that's what happened. During this whole process here in this past week, I got to call my doctor at Mayo, tell him what he did wrong, tell him what he could have done better, and he was humbled by it. I'm going to read you the speech that I read him and how it went and what he said to me. That will be in the next video. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, and Cookie Monster, you guys.